I'm going to go through how to set up and start sharpening with the MowSharp 4-bladed semi-automatic blade sharpener. You only need one tool, and that is a 9/16 inch wrench. And take a blade holder, put a blade on the holder with I guess we call it a thumb screw style bolt. This one here is exactly a 1/2 inch diameter and doesn't need any bushings, but some blades with larger center holes I do have bushings for. And tighten that down. Make sure that it's parallel to the blade holder, and then clamp it with a very small C-clamp or a pair of vice grips, whichever seems to work best for you. The cover that comes with this might be a little bit too small for a pair of vice grips, so thusly the small C-clamp. The next thing to do is to adjust how far the blade goes into the grinding wheel. And this one's a little rough because it's my last prototype. Everything in production has the bolts that go through the top rather than through the bottom. But what I'm doing is I'm loosening the 2 clamping bolts. Not very well at that. I don't know if I mentioned or not, but I'm not an actor, and I don't do well under pressure. So bear with me here. We're getting it. Yeah, the newer versions with the blades that, or the bolts that go through the top, much nicer. Much nicer. Okay, so we slide. Not yet. Okay, you slide the assembly forward or backward so that we get the right amount of blade surface on the grinding wheel. Then we tighten it back up. I'm going to leave that for a little bit later so that we can go on. And then we adjust the back so that the pivot point leaves the blade roughly at a parallel to the grinding wheel. And as I screw this in, it is lowering the back pivot point. Some people choose to grind so that they end up with a cutting edge that's not parallel to the blade. I've always chosen to keep the cutting edge parallel to the blade, which is the way the manufacturer designed it to be. And so this one needs to go down a little bit farther. And this blade was sharpened with a MowSharp, but it was a It was a different prototype, an earlier prototype than this one. And I know you can't see it from this angle, but what I'm doing is leveling the blade so that its cutting edge is parallel to the grinding wheel. And I think that's about got it there. And at which point we just tighten up the locking nut so that it can't vibrate out of place. And then the next thing we do is determine how steep of an angle we would like to grind on the blade. And this one is pretty close. We'll check that in just a few minutes. And make sure. But now I am going to tighten this up so that we can check this blade. And as I said, the newer versions are much easier to work with than this one. Now these machines are made in Logan, Utah at the moment. If you are close to this area, I will come set up your machine, show you how to use it, all included. As a matter of fact, the price of this machine, which is the 1012, which is basically is 1 horsepower motor, 12-inch grinding wheel. I don't think I can talk at the same time very well. Alright, now what we do, now that I got this in place and tight, is make sure that the rest of these, now this one here didn't have its holder on it, so I'm going to take it right off. The other two are pretty solid, so we can turn this on and go from there. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab some safety glasses. And just momentarily, we're going to lift the blade off the stone, turn the stone on, plug in. Plug in the grinder and turn it on, holding this off slightly, and then lowering it down slowly. after about that long, we can lift it up and see what kind of a grind we're getting. And I can see that we're grinding towards the end and not towards the center, which means that we probably should, let's see, is it parallel to the world? Not quite. So we should probably lower the back end just a little bit. Of course, this is all up to anybody. You can decide what angle of everything that you sharpen with this blade or with this sharpener. And a couple of turns. That's pretty. Yeah, we'll give that a try. Better. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Oh, yep, okay, I don't think you can see it, but we're grinding much closer or all the way across. So this blade is pretty much ready to go. Now what we do is we take the stop on this blade and raise the stop so that this blade is just barely not touching the grinding wheel. That way we can set up the other blades without this blade actually grinding. As you can see, it's not grinding. We'll put it on pause for a second and I will set up the other three blades. We'll come back from there.